Shalom. Kal halalim la Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakak Kodash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, elder bishops of Great Millstone. Okay. And shalom to the prophets of that body, and shalom to the 144,000 and 1/3. May peace and blessings and the spirit of endurance be upon you and your households. Okay. Now we are approaching the end. A whole bunch of things are going on. All right. I've touched on most of it, I believe, Lord willing. But there's so much, and there's so many things that are being thrown into this mix of chaos that Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, is promoting. Okay, and another aspect would be with regards to the small hats. Okay, which people always make that statement. Okay, if you look at the people, what's that statement that people usually say that look at the people that you can't talk about, or sort of, you like analyze things, and you look at things, and you view things, and you think about it, that okay, who are the people that you can't talk about? All right, who are the people in power? All right, and talk about those people. Let's see what happens. People talk about the small hats, you see what happens, right? We see what's happening in Australia. We knew about the gun laws. They're coming after law-abiding, so-called law-abiding citizens and their firearms. And they emphasize the fact that when that so-called person that did the alleged deleting in Bondi Beach in Australia, right? They emphasize the fact that he is a legal firearms owner, something along the lines of having 16 firearms. And for some reason, every time these deletings take place, they've always got excellent footage, and they've got their mobile phones in hand to take pictures of themselves with blood on themselves and all other things. They've always get these intricate pictures somehow, right? But yet they can't find out who took the bike, who stole your bicycle from outside of your house, even though it's chained up. All right, so there's a lot going on. There's a lot of staged things. There's a lot of literal things, and it's all being pointed towards the lockdown of this planet. Okay, the Neuralink, the micro C-hip is being pushed, and along with that is the digital wallet, which is being pushed heavy as well, which is a prelude to this C-hip. People are already not using cash anymore. Cash machines are being taken away. Banks are being shut down. Okay, you go to a store to do some shopping. The human element is being taken away. It's a very robotic, cold world. Manners is gone out the window. Love is gone out the window. Romance is gone out the window. The music is whacked. The energy is whacked, because the Lord Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai is destroying this world. Okay, now along with everything being destroyed, okay, and everything being pushed, because there's a couple more prophecies to go. Jacob's trouble, Jeremiah 30 verse 7, the micro C-hip, Revelation 13:16, and then World War III, Revelation 11:14, and also Revelation 9 and 12 lets you know that World War I and World War II have already happened, or at that time when it was that World War I and World War II also would happen, and it did happen, right? And now we are at the brink of World War III, and that's being pushed all across the world, and major news channels from different parts of the world, people with different accents pushing the same vibration of World War III. Okay, and now they're trying to tighten your mouth. They're trying to close your mouth. They're trying to put you in a box, put you in a corner, so you can be a controlled individual. All right. And the way they want to control you completely is they want to control your mind, they want to control your body, they want to control your soul, and also they want to control what the hell you say. Okay, now whether these wacky tacky Christians or these Jeebus worshippers, these Caesar Borgia worshippers, we don't give a shit about them or any other so-called religion. All right, whether it's a small hat one or the Islamic one, we don't care about that, or the Hare Krishnas, none of that. Okay, all these tightening so-called hate speech. Hate speech is basically speaking the truth. Now, if you talk about Leviticus, Leviticus 20:13. 1 second, let me just see if I got the right quote. I don't want to. Let me check on my phone, man. 1 second. Leviticus 20:13 KJV. Yeah. So if you talk about Leviticus 20:13, okay, which is about the MOE people or the British cigarette people, right? If you talk about them, that's considered hate speech. So anything that is lawful in the Bible, and that alludes that goes to a scripture. These heathens or these powers that be call good evil and evil good. So if you have rainbow people wearing leather thongs, men with showing their hairy backsides, dressed like the village people, and children are there waving certain flags, right? That's okay. That's healthy. That's normal, right? But if a man talks about having multiple wives and things like that, oh, that's sexist. You know, you're a sexist pig. All these kind of terms. All right. If you talk about what the scriptures say, pursuant to Leviticus 20:13, right? Or you're a hate monger, or you're a hateful person. That's hate speech. If you talk about the truth, what's going on in the world, and you pull the if you wipe away people's if you pull away the curtains from people's eyes, or however the statement goes, if you take the blinders off of people's eyes, or try to, okay, by telling the truth, okay, which is the right thing to do, no matter how painful it could be, but you tell the truth. Oh, that's hate speech. Okay, so ultimately, what they're trying to do is ban the men of the Lord of teaching this truth of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. These powers that be don't care about the FOI, NOI, Farrakhan, and all that. Look how much of a huge following he is. He's a billionaire, living lavishly with his slick back hair. You know what I mean? All right. Hundreds of thousands of followers, money, mansions. They don't care about him. They don't care about TD Jakes. They don't care about Hari Krishnas. They don't care about them. They care. What they're focused on is the men of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. Okay? The men of the Lord. All right? Whoever they are from the four corners of the earth. All right? Across the four corners of the earth. Okay? And I strongly believe the men of Great Millstone are definitely those men. Okay? Okay? From our apostles on down. Double honors to them again, man. Brakti Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai for his men. All right? And, by the way, copyright fair use, not making no money out of this. Okay, now we've got a Labour government, right, ran by Keir Starmer, I believe since 2020. Okay, now the Labour government is putting a ban on street preaching. Okay, now this has been building up. Okay, and remember, we are approaching 2026, and a lot's going on. The Neuralink has been successful. The micro CHIPs has been successful. Muskie is doing his thing in America and the UK. Okay, the Elder Kazak from the Mississippi camp, made a video yesterday, I believe, in China, paraplegic or someone along those lines, using his mind to control the monitor or TV screen or whatever. Right? We've seen that in America. We've seen that in the UK. We've seen people already hipped in Sweden. Okay. We've seen biohackers. I believe they're called biohackers, those weirdos with the septum rings and all that shit and blue hair, right? Wearing hips, magicians wearing hips. They're promoting it as a superpower. I've also seen a commercial using the term hip, and it was a product of a major, well-known laptop or a computer brand. I'm not going to say it. All right. Okay. But the one with a piece of fruit on it, with a bite out of it. They use the term, hip. All right. They didn't have to point that. They use the term hip. Okay. About promoting a new technology within a phone. All right. So as soon as I watched that, it just, they're using certain terms to push that term. All right. All that going on, approaching 2026, the 250th year, because most heathen kingdoms don't last 250 years, or a little less than 250 years, or a little tad over 250 years. But we're at that point, of 250 years mark, where that's why time is speeding up, because we're at the end. And Revelation 12 verse 12 lets you know that these heathens have but a short time. All right. And that's why the devil's going to go, frantic. Paraphrasing, of course. Okay. Actually, let me just read it. I'll get it off my phone, right? because I don't want to jump from page to page at the moment. 1 second. Revelation 12, verse 12, King James Version. Okay. Revelation 12, verse 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil, the deceiver, is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. They have a short time left. They don't have long left, okay? Okay? And in Matthew, I believe it's in the book of Matthew. Let me get that scripture up. Speed up the time for the elect's sake, King James Version. Oh, for crying out loud. Matthew 24 and 22. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Hence the reason why time is going fast. All right? Time is going beautifully fast, man. Barak di Yahweh Bashem Yashai for that. All right? And you feel like you can't even do anything. You know what I mean? You feel like, oh man, I don't even have time for this or time for that. You're trying to squeeze everything into your routines. You're doing your prayers, your routines, working out, all these kinds of things. You want to do more working out. Say, man, I ain't got time to even, do my sparring properly or hit the bag properly. Oh, I only got time for run or hitting weights or whatever. Because you're trying to keep yourself somewhat healthy as well. And time is going fast, man. All right? Because if it doesn't go fast, these devils will karagma everybody. All right? And let's see what they're saying, what the Labour government is saying. All right, and this is the video from this person's channel. I guess this person is a so-called Christian. All right.
The Labour-ran Rushmore Borough Council has sparked outrage by proposing a sweeping injunction that could see Christian street preachers in prison for up to 2 years if the injunction is breached, now over claims of causing offence or distress. Now, the proposed terms, Christians will be banned from praying for individuals, handing out religious leaflets or Bibles by hand, and laying hands on people in prayer, even with their permission. The Labour-ran Rushmore Borough Council has sparked outrage by proposing a sweeping injunction that could see Christian street preachers in prison for up to 2 years if the injunction is breached, now over claims of causing offence or distress. Now, the proposed terms, Christians will be banned from praying for individuals, handing out religious leaflets or Bibles by hand, and laying hands on people in prayer, even with their permission. The Labour-ran Rushmore.
So even if you got permission, saying, okay, Mr. So-and-so or minister or priest or whatever, I'm talking about these Christians, right? Yeah, you can lay your hands on me. Can you pray for me and my son or whatever? And if you do that, that's considered a crime as well. All right? So if two individuals agree to do something, that's considered a crime. Okay? But if two British cigarettes consider to do something, right? And Leviticus 20:13, that's not considered a crime. Okay? But people laying on hands, preaching, even if you have their permission, is considered a crime. That's how serious it's getting. All right? They're becoming like the thought police. And there's been instances where even if you're thinking about praying for someone or about someone, and I believe it was a video from a while back of somebody outside an abortion clinic, the coppers are saying that they're going to get arrested for that if you pray for them, even if you're thinking about praying for them. It's crazy, Minority Report, that movie with Tom Cruise. All these movies, they've been letting you know, Revelation of the Method, how the world is going to be. I was watching The Simpsons, right? The RoboCop cartoon. There was a RoboCop cartoon from 1998. I thought, let me check this out. I've never seen this one before. All right. And they're talking about the world in 2020, 2025, 2030. Remember, this is 1998. The world was a very different place back in 98. The Twin Towers are still there. The world is still in a murky environment. It was somewhat so-called fun back in 98, if you remember, right? Now, it was showing the world in 2020 and 2025 and 2030, how it's going to be. And it's kind of that environment now. So they show you in every part of their media, what they want to do and how they want the world to be. Okay, just go to this page. Okay, this is from, when's this from? Oh, 10th of April 2025. So you can tell that this has been building up for a while. When does street preaching become antisocial? Okay, Reverend Don Balcaran feels the new restrictions are very unreasonable and out of order. Okay, what does it say? Public space protection order. Public space. All right. Religious groups have received antisocial behavior warning notices for the way they promote their faith to city center shoppers. I remember when we were at college or university 30 years ago. Only time you got antisocial behavior when a couple of my friends got done for it was strictly simple. We left the university bar, right? We had a few beers because beer was cheap back in the mid 90s, 94, 95, right? Students, Jakes get together, we have a few pints, you know. Uh, they get, when you're young in your late teens, early 20s, you get a little simple. And drinking is allowed in the UK. I think it's from the age of 18. Yeah, right. And yeah, so you get a little simple, and the coppers arrest you for drunken disorderly or antisocial behavior or whatever, right? You haven't hurt no one. You're just, you may be like, swaying left and right, and or you might have a few words with someone that's, said something to you, and then you get done for antisocial behavior, or or yeah, you get done for antisocial behavior or drunken disorderly. That was antisocial behavior back in the day. Now antisocial behavior has become street preaching. All right. So this is ultimately coming for the men of the Lord. They're doing all this to get the men of Yahweh Bashem Hashai. They're not going to say it, but we know where it's going. All right. It starts from the bottom, but they're aiming for the top, which is the men of Yahweh Bashem Hashai, which is its truth. All right. So religious groups have received antisocial behavior warning notices for the way they promote their faith to city center shoppers. Leicester City Council put a new Public Spaces Protection Order, PSPO, in place from 2nd of April to tackle issues including riding e-scooters, drinking, playing loud music, and begging in the city centre. But the number of religious groups have told the BBC they have received warnings for using loudspeakers and setting up street stalls and banners near the city's clock tower. I mean, that's Isaiah 58, verse 1. You're supposed to cry out loud and spare not. You're supposed to lift up your voice like a trumpet. Hence the reason why the men of the Lord use that. And if you look at older videos, they did use microphones and things of that nature back in the day. But now they don't. But these so-called Christians still do. All right. So they, ultimately they're coming after the men of the Lord. All right. But they're putting the face of these Jeebus worshippers. All right. But ultimately they're coming after the men of the Lord. Okay. The BBC found groups from the Christian and Islamic faiths and the Hare Krishna movement in the area near the clock tower in the space of 2 days. All right. Reverend Don Balcaran said he had been given a leaflet explaining the new PSPO or the new PSPO, which included a new ban on the amplifier that he uses to preach and sing. All right. So they want it to be a very silent world, a very quiet, a very soulless world. I'm not saying that these heathens put soul in it. I'm just saying, like, if you got a Jake that's playing the guitar in the street that might have a beautiful voice and he's just singing about the Most High, even though he doesn't know the correct name, but he's putting a little soul and spirit to it. That's a beautiful thing because he's just singing about the Most High. He might not use the name. He might not even use the word Jeebus. He just might call it, the Most High power in heaven and just singing a beautiful voice using an acoustic guitar. I believe that's what you call it, right? And it might sound beautiful. They don't even want that out there in the street. They want it to be a soulless, cold world where people don't say hello to each other. People don't say thank you for something. You can feel it's going in that direction. And all hell's going to break loose. And now they want to stop your freedom of speech. Okay? A group of gospel singers told the BBC they felt the amplification ban is extreme. And a lot of people earn their daily bread through this. A lot of people actually sing on the street. People give them donations or whatever, as a gift. And that's how they earn their daily bread. All right? Ben Okocha is from the Universal Pentecostal Church. Okocha. It's probably West African, Jake. Princess Omaregbi wants to hear people express themselves. Well, obviously Jake's gonna be upset. Yeah, Jake's in it. Jake here, Jake there, right? She said that loudspeakers should be allowed. Ultimately, right, they wanna it's a ban on street preaching. And then obviously then you got the Muslim guy here, Elam or Ishmael, uh, or whatever he is, trying to promote his so-called religion. All right? All right. Now let's go to this part here. Australia to tighten hate speech laws following Bondi massacre, right? So this is happening everywhere. This is going to be a collective. If you notice, the major areas they're doing this is the UK, Canada, America, and Australia, which wherever there's a stronghold of Esau Edom is, they're going to do it there. And they're going to do other parts of the world as well, but they're going to go to the parts of the world where Christianity or so-called Christianity is heavy and there's a lot of Jake there. All right. So as you notice, you can see with the acting and the crisis actors that they've used for this situation over here, it's being pushed into the direction of banning hate speech. All right. So you know who the people you can't talk about, right? Okay. It's the small hatters. They run pretty much everything because this is their world. Okay. Paraphrasing scripture, the world is given into the hands of the wicked. All right. The Australian government has confirmed that it will introduce tighter hate speech laws to combat extremism following Sunday's Bondi Beach tea attack. All right. And by the way, I'm hearing these trumpets as well. That the brother made a video, I believe it was yesterday. I thought it was Leviathan like sort of roaring in the background, but it could be a trumpet of a chariot, man. I'll keep hearing it. It's been recent. I just heard it right now. I don't know whether the microphone picked it up. But anyway. All right. And they want to, they want to seal your mouth. And also the new hate speech laws will be accompanied by Australia's most significant tightening of gun laws since the 1996 Port Arthur massacre. So every time there's some kind of massacre, which could be legitimate or it could be staged, they're going to take away more of your freedoms. They've been doing that incrementally over the years. Okay, they did this in the UK too. All right, guns used to be a common thing here during World War II. After World War II, there were submachine guns left over in people's houses. Firearms are kind of normal, but it wasn't the Wild West. But people had access to firearms and all these kinds of things. You know, and I believe there was a couple of things that happened, a couple of scuffles, and firearms or handguns were taken off the market. Only the double-barrel shotguns are allowed by farmers. But just like everything else in this world, there's loopholes and there's an underground world where firearms still do exist. So the only people this affects, these firearm laws or firearm bans, are people that have that are so-called law-abiding. But firearms are still going to exist amongst the gangsters or the what you call the underworld. All right, it's still going to be there. Okay, so but the thing is, Esau Edom wants to disarm as much of the population as possible. Okay, they want to disarm you physically, and they want to, disarm your mouth as well, because the mouth is a powerful weapon, especially when you speak the truth. Okay, when the Yahweh Hashem Messiah is with you, all right, and you're speaking the truth of the scriptures, that's a powerful weapon. Okay, and look at what the men of the Lord have been doing in the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Messiah. They've been changing the geography, man, of this the spiritual geography of this world, man. You know. Let's go to Amos 8 and 11. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh Bahashim Yashai, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord Yahweh Bahashim Yashai. Okay, let's go to verse 12. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east, they shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord Yahweh Shem Yashai and shall not find it. Okay? You're not going to find it. You've been mocking the men of the Lord. You've been talking about Sky Daddy this, Sky Daddy that. And the person that said that a lot, Polite, you saw what happened to him, right? He might even get deleted in prison. He won't even see the outside world, until he's born in the kingdom as a baby. Only the Lord knows what's going to happen to people like that. And how much more, man? Okay? Right now. Okay? So all you mockers, all you scoffers, all you people that, have your popcorn ready and have your meal ready. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, the Israelites here, they uploaded a video. Oh, man, look at them, man. Look at those crazy outfits. Let's see what they're going to say, how to PISS the so-called white man off. Oh, this is funny. This is so funny. Look at them. You think it's like a comedy act, man. You think it's like watching the Chappelle show or some shit. All right? But you don't know how serious the situation is. But when these things are popping off like popcorn, as the elders say, or the prophecies, you're going to be looking for the men of the Lord. And it's already started, slowly but surely. Elder Amawan Gabar talked about it when I believe somebody came and found the main camp in New York saying, oh, well, whatever you guys are saying is coming to pass. And there's been lots of examples of this, a whole bunch of receipts, man, about elders talking about people coming to them. And this is going to increase as time goes by. All right. So you better get this truth while it's there. Okay. Because soon it's not going to be there. All right. So let's read Amos 8 and 11 again. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh Shem Yashai, that I will send a famine in the land. Not a famine of bread, but the famine of bread is also coming, by the way. Nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord. And this is the beginning stages, and it's going to keep amplifying until they get the men of the Lord off the street. Hence the reason why Elder Apostle Tahars I think the elder had a dream or a vision, or somebody had a dream or a vision of Elder Apostle Tahar making a statement online saying, this will be my last video, okay, which means a famine has started. All right. And I think there's a couple of people who have had that dream or vision of the elder. All right. So that time is coming. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh Shem Yashai, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord Yahweh Shem Yashai. Verse 12, and they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro, and they shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord Yahweh Shem Yashai, and shall not find it. All right, so that time is coming. All praises, honor, glory, blessings, and power be unto Abanawi Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakak Kadash, Mawatha Bat Baba, Kwam Yashwala, Shalom.